Welcome to the Obesity Medicine Podcast with your host, Dr. Rentea, board certified in internal medicine and obesity medicine. Here, we talk about a path to metabolic health, and we have real conversations about chronic weight management and living a full life. Just a reminder, I am a physician, but I'm not your physician. So everything that's on this podcast is for informational purposes, but please go talk to your doctor about what's right for you. There is no medical advice being given on this podcast. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. How's everybody doing? I am knee deep in the middle of preparing for, in the coming months here, the blood sugar course that I'm going to do. If any of you have ever participated in my courses before, you know that there's a lot of work that goes into these. There are weekly master classes that I do, and then we have different bonus calls. So I've really been bringing together. I do a lot of dreaming before I do these, in the sense of who would I love to have on? What do I want to share? What do I think is important that you could get some real inspiration and some ideas and really leave feeling uplifted? And something different that I'm doing this time, and I've spent a lot of time thinking how I'm really going to make this amazing. I'm offering as well for those that really want to take a real deep dive, a metabolic accountability and action track, where there's a group coaching aspect where people can just really kick it up 100 degrees. So I know that, last week we talked about accountability, and this week we're talking more about the reality with losing weight and how there often has to be a lot of action that we take, and it can be uncomfortable. It cannot be fun. And so how do you keep going? Everyone keeps thinking motivation's the answer. And sometimes it's just figuring out your darn systems and getting some logical help on things. But often it's just being in the right rooms where you can keep going because you see what others are doing and you say, okay, if they're doing that, I'm going to try this. And you do that. So I've been spending a lot of time figuring that out. So if you're interested in participating in that, if you're already on the email list, don't worry about it. But otherwise, there's an email to the wait list. So for the special group that's going to be part of that, I am definitely going to be limiting spots on that action and accountability track, because there's no way that we can't do that with a larger group. So if you're wanting to participate in that, make sure that you're on the wait list, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to open up those spots first. And if they're gone by the time I send it to the regular list. But let's talk about today's topic. This is something that by the way, I have re-recorded this podcast multiple times. So let's see if we can get it right this time. When I see people losing weight and keeping it off, it is not on accident. I just want to start with that. I feel that often if someone is struggling or they're having a hard time, there's lots of thoughts of, why is my body doing this to me? Why can't it be different? Why does it have to be hard for me? All of those kind of things, which are all valid and are all things we can work through. But what I want to start with is this. Number one, it is not about your weight at all. It is about self-care, and it's about taking massive action toward that self-care. Now, what do I mean by massive action versus passive action? So passive action is when you feel very productive, but you are only in a consumption role. So for example, you are listening to podcasts a lot, you're reading books, maybe you take a video course and you're looking at that all day long, and it feels very productive, but all you're ever doing is just taking notes and like taking it in. That's the passive part. You don't have the massive action part showing up where you are actually doing something with it. One of the big things whenever people are with me, I'm always like, okay, so this is all the learning, but here's what I want you to go do. You've got to go do the stuff. Otherwise, it doesn't matter if you keep learning. So number one, it's not about your weight. It's about self-care. It's about taking actions that are going to move you closer to where you want to go. This is not a sacrifice. It's really a privilege to get to take better care of yourself. And seeing it as such, like, this is going to help me so much. This is not some drain on my time or not worth it, all those kind of things. No, this is how I feel better. This is how I get to a place where I'm in a better spot. And it's about getting real with yourself. So for example, if you want to start to get more active, I need you to have that moment. And this is something that I put in the workbook, but we never really went into it in the previous Metabolic and Mindset Mastermind, with movement, sort of this red, yellow, green menu, which is The red stuff is stuff you're just not going to consider. You hate it. I'm going to give an example for me. I don't like when it's really hot and humid out to be outside. Not my jam. Now I've worked around it because I do my walk at 6 a.m, so I don't need to deal with that. But that's an element I just don't enjoy. Me playing tennis in the middle of the day, not ever going to happen. Hate it. Absolutely hate it. What's yellow? Group activities. I'm not such a fan. I don't like it. I don't like to be part of big groups. I tend to feel bad if someone's ability level is higher than mine, and maybe I'll outgrow that. We'll see. What's green for me? A walk. Light weights where it gets kind of hard as you go up on the reps, but like minute 1, it's not too hard. Talking to friends as I do thing, when music's involved, a little bit of wind sometimes. So really getting real with yourself. What do I actually want to take action on? So we don't say anymore, okay, I'm going to become a runner when we know our knees hurt doing that. We start to look for options that work for us. We get real. We know we're going to take action, but you do it in a way that's aligned. And number 2 is this. You need to be all in. This is where that massive action part comes in. You need this to be a non-negotiable. A lot of people, I hear this aspect of overwhelm and indecision. I don't know what to do, or I don't want to do it, or I set the goal and then I don't do it. And why do these things need to be a non-negotiable? You need to be super clear on what your why is. It needs to be crystal clear. So let's just keep the movement track alive, because it's been something I've been on a kick recently with. Why would we choose to do a lot more movement? And by the way, I'm bringing on much more of an expert on this. So stay tuned for an episode coming up here with Allie Novinsky. She is absolutely amazing with this body composition and movement. So I'm going to be talking to her actually later this week. So stay tuned for that. But one of the reasons that we really want to do movement, number 1, we're not ever doing it for weight loss. So please hear me when I say that. You could do hours and hours per week, not clinically significant weight loss by the end of the year. So we're not ever doing it for weight loss. But one of the reasons is that it really regulates your nervous system. It really helps to complete the stress cycle. This is massive as far as you being able to have control of your life, being able to have control over food, not feel stressed out all the time, feel like your life is not a mess. Part of that is movement. I have yet to meet people that are really in great mastery of their life that are not in some capacity moving. It doesn't have to be big things. It could just be like a 10-minute walk a day. It could be like a few times a week, some weights. But in some capacity, if we're not moving our body, we lose a lot of muscle mass. So we feel very weak. Our balance starts to suffer. The cardiovascular health goes down. The mental health goes down. There are a lot of things that go along with that. Why would you want to sit there and exercise and make this a not negotiable? Because your nervous system is better regulated. You've completed the stress cycle. You just feel like it keeps you centered. It's interesting. There's a lot of things that as long as I take that walk in the morning, I can handle a lot of things that day. But if I don't, the day is chaos. So just really getting clear on being all in on what you're doing. Me deciding to do a walk in the morning, it didn't come out of nowhere. It was thought out. Okay, where's the time in the day? Why do I want to do this? Why am I doing this over something else? And I just got really clear on it. It was like the bar was low enough. It was a non-negotiable. It was like, I can set the alarm. I like it enough that I don't mind doing it. All of the things aligned, but I'm all in. Unless it is like raining and thundering, I'm going to be out there in the morning. And the first thought in my mind, I want to normalize this for some of you out there. If you think, oh, I don't want to do it, normal, we don't need to engage with that anymore. We don't need to go down that thought process when the alarm goes off. The only decision is, are you going to physically sit up in bed, get the clothes on that you need, and put the gym shoes on and head out the door? That's the only decision. So there are techniques for this. For example, Mel Robbins, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You count backward to start to engage the thinking part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex. And the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, when you get to 1, you get up and go do it, whatever it is that you decided to do. So there are little kind of like tips, tricks, and hacks to get this going. But what I just want to say is, are you taking action in your life, number 1? And number 2, are you all in on it? And what can you be all in on? What can be a non-negotiable for you? These are things that people are doing that are losing the weight and keeping it off. They're getting the veggies in with every meal. They're getting their water in no matter what. They're not saying, well, it was a hard week at work, this or that. They drink the water because they know they get headaches if they don't. They get more urges and cravings. They feel physically worse. The water bottles are already filled. They're not having to think about these things anymore because they're always doing them. It's a non-negotiable. They're all in on it. Okay. The third thing is this. They're doing things that they might not like, and they're open to it being hard, to be difficult, to be uncomfortable. Of course, it's going to feel that way when you've never done these things before. Of course. It's new. Why would we expect it to feel any other way? But doing something really hard every day, that is how we're going to get to a new place. Why? Why do I say that? Why am I like, oh, I want you to go do hard things? Number one, if you can feel the feeling that goes with it, you can do anything. Okay, so that's like the deeper work that I would do if you were working with me. But if you do these things, what ends up happening is you get to a place where it is normalized. Yes, I take a walk. Yes, I do these things. It gets easier. But there's an activation energy. This is a concept in science. If you don't know what I'm talking about, for certain enzymes and proteins to work, they need to sort of like have a little thing to unlock them. They need to a little bit go up a hill before the ball can roll down the hill. That's the activation energy. That's why all the enzymes and everything in your body is not just 24/7 working. It needs to work at the right time. We need the signal that it's time to work. So we want to activate new habits, new ways of being, things that are really part of you. That's going to be hard initially. It takes a little bit of energy to get that stuff going. But then it's the ball down the hill where it's easy and it's flowing. But we need to put in a little energy initially. So we need to not expect everything to be easy. Some things might be hard. Some things we might need to work through. I'm going to give you an example. Before we moved to Chicago, however many months ago, when I was living in Indianapolis, I had a treadmill in the garage. The surface of walking on that treadmill had a lot of give to it, right? When you step down, there's a little bit of almost like a bounce to it. Well, here I don't have that. And so I will literally walk inside the house if I need to, but I just walk around. There's these little walking trails. Well, now I'm on cement. It's a very different surface. And back in the day, I fractured my ankle when I was in third grade. I've got a pin in there. I've had a surgery. And I started to notice, that ankle's really starting to hurt me a little bit. And so I don't need to, yes, I'm doing stretches and all the things, but I decided, hey, let me try. Have I not updated my shoes in a while? Like magic, it was helpful, right? But again, challenges are going to arise, but we're going to say, hey, how can I make this work? Instead of, now I can't walk on these trails. It's, can I do something differently? If the shoes wouldn't work, I'd be asking a podiatrist or an ortho doctor. I'd be asking my friends, hey, what recommendations? I'm laughing because I'm thinking of someone that might be listening to this that's probably going to contact me and give me some good advice. So the point is, it's not necessarily physically or emotionally comfortable or easy to do these things, but you've got to start somewhere. No one is coming to make this easier for you. This is the challenge. This is the problem, right? Like we want there to be this perfect time when it's so easy to prep the food and do the things and like really be on top of it. No one's coming to create that for you. You have to create that. So you have to be the change you want to see. You've got to do this in your life and it will get easier, but you've got to go through that river of misery. You've got to go through the period where it's challenging, where it's hard, where it's different, where you have to show up as a different person to get different results. So this is the part of kind of that I said today where it'd be a little bit more of sort of a tough man version, because I'm all about love and honoring and compassion and things like that. But we need action to go with compassion. So we don't just sit there in the compassionate role. Okay, so if you're someone that you've been listening to this and you think, gosh, I want to be someone that's taking more action. I'm doing more of that, that massive action role, things like that. That can be hard to get into if you've never had anyone help you with that before. So again, what I was talking about in the beginning, if you want to be part of that, really that accountability and that action track that we're going to do, and you really want to work on these things, consider getting on that wait list because that's going to be your opportunity. I want to normalize that most people that are achieving big things are getting a lot of help. I can't even tell you if I don't know, I forget if I mentioned this at the beginning of the episode, but I have a coach that helps me on the business side. And you'd think it's not her sitting there and making business decisions for me. That I do on my own. But it's us sitting there and having some co-working sessions saying, okay, what could it look like if we did this, if we did that? And I'm sitting there with all the ideas, but someone's helping me to focus it. Someone's helping me to steer the ship in the right direction. And sometimes if you have not felt that this is super easy, or you don't know how to stay in massive action, or you don't even know what these things are. Sometimes it's helpful to be part of a group that's doing that. So if that is something that you want, again, I would get on that wait list because I want to help you to show you how to do that. This is something that sometimes we need a lot of help around us to make this happen. And I will be the first to say that I have met with a dietitian. I have a physician that I work with. I have a coach that I work with. I've got some help on movement now. You do what you need at that stage to get to the next stage. There's no shame in that. In fact, it can be the best thing in the world for you to find out where to get that. Maybe from a place that's not diet culture. It could be my one sort of yellow light. Like, let's not let it be diet culture. We don't need a 75 hard. We don't need these things. These things where I think your first indication that something is not sustainable and not going to work, it's like the minute you hear it, like it just like brings panic in your body. Wrong decision for you. And what's interesting is different things at different points in your life are going to either elicit that or not. So let me give you an example. Like I'm right now at this place in my life where I want like all the accountability. I love when someone checks in with me, and I love where knowing really clearly before I go in a group what the expectations are going to be, like, hey, don't sign up if you're not willing to X, Y, Z. I love that. But I know that there might have been a time in the past where I might have run away from that because I knew I can't commit to this. I can't fully do all of this. Like I know myself, right? So you need to look internal. What is massive action for you? Is massive action that you start to prepare some veggies every week? Is massive action, I've been wanting to do the movement thing. I haven't done it. Maybe you need a coach to help you figure out where is my point that where should my next steps be? There's no problem in that. I just want to normalize that for you. Sometimes it's really hard to sort of figure out what's up and down with all this going on. So just to reiterate, number one, you're going to stop thinking this is a weight thing. This is actually a self-care thing, and we've got to take action. Number two, we've got to be all in on it. We've got to be committed to it. That's a non-negotiable, and really clear on our whys. If you have challenges with your whys, I want you to do, I kind of call it like the 5 A's, and you just keep asking why. And I don't know why I call it the 5 A's. But you ask why like 5 times. So you'll be like, okay. And that's the asking part, right? So it's like, okay, I want to lose 5 pounds. Why? I want to be able to get up on and off the floor more easily. Why? Because I'm discouraged that a task like this, I don't want to feel like I'm going to fall over all the time doing that. Why? Because as I get older, I want my balance to be there. I want to be for my kids. Why? And when you get down to it, you're like, usually it ends up being because I deserve it. I deserve to be able to move around this world and not feel like I'm going to break a hip at any moment. That can be a totally valid reason. Remember, your whys are your whys, and you don't ever need to justify it to anyone else. So when we keep asking why, when you're answering something, you usually end up getting down to something kind of juicy. You end up getting down to something, why should I not deserve that? Like, who's more deserving of that? You start to get down to a little bit of an angry flame that we need there. That is better use of your energy to get down to that why than trying to ask for motivation all day long. I just want to give you that as a perspective. All right, we got a little off track. So number 2, we need to be all in. Number 3, we're going to be open to it being hard, different, uncomfortable, whatever it needs to look like. We don't care because we're signing up for all of it because we want to get this done. We want to figure this out, and it's not going to be a problem anymore. It does not matter how I need to feel along the road because I'm going to be so freaking proud of myself for even being on the road. All right, I hope you all have an awesome rest of the week, and we'll talk next week. That marks the end of today's episode. But if you're newer to the podcast, I want to tell you about something that we have, and it's a free podcast roadmap. So this is perfect for any of you that are listening where you want to be directed to very specific episodes. So let's say that you are just starting out and you want to know, what should I do right when I start on the medications? Or you're experiencing certain side effects on the GLP-1s, or you want to know what to do if you're in a plateau, or if emotional eating is taking over, or if hunger levels are high. So we have many different categories of episodes that we've talked about because there's a lot at this point. So if you want to be able to navigate that very easily, we have it broken down by category and also the episodes that are there, and we hyperlink to everything. So you can just click on it and find the episode, easy peasy. If you want that, you can go to renteaclinic.com/podcast roadmap. We'll have it linked right here underneath the show notes where you're listening. And you can go ahead and get that free resource so that it makes it easy for you to navigate, because I know that it's really hard when someone has an established podcast. I am such a podcast fiend. I'm listening to podcasts all day long. And when I find one that I love, but there's a lot that are out there, I am so lost. So I hope that you enjoy this free podcast roadmap. Again, the link to get to that is going to be renteaclinic.com/podcast roadmap. I hope this is helpful, and let me know if you have any questions.